Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is a Courseplay tutorial for Farming Simulator 19. In this episode I'm going to show you how to set up the Premos straw harvester in order to work with Courseplay and to get it to work automatically, because you can't get it to use a helper, the standard in-game helper anyway, so you do need to use Courseplay if you did want to automate the straw pellet harvest making process. I'm also going to show you how to do it with hay as well, but I'm going to start with straw, and the actual course for the Premos starts with the harvester itself. So we're going to right click with the mouse, bring up Courseplay, we're going to make sure we're on field work over here, we're going to generate a course. This is field 41. We want headland to be around, I think headland passes, this has a 12 metre header, so I think 2 headland passes should be fine. So start working on your headland passes. You want your headland corners to be smooth. Field centre, up down, yeah, I think up down should be fine. And bypass island, because there is a tree in the middle of this field, bypass island, I'm going to click circle, or actually simple, and that will just go around that tree. Header is 12 metres, that's all fine. We're going to generate a course like so, and then we're going to go new, and this is field 41 harvest, and it is 12 metres because we've got a 12 metre header on it, and we are going in the opposite direction. I've already been playing around, but the course I'd set up previously just to test wasn't quite right, so we are going to end up going over some of the land that we've already done, but it's not to worry, not the end of the world. So we're on field work, we want to go start course at first waypoint, and we'll set him off, and he's going to replicate some of what he's already done, but it's not the end of the world, because we are going to jump into this fence which has the Premos attached to the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to cancel off this experimental course, or the course that I tried first of all, and what we're going to do with this is drive back to where the harvester started from. So basically all we're doing, it is quite simple actually, is just using the course that the harvester started with, because basically all we want to do is, all we want the tractor to do is drive the exact same course down the middle where the actual harvester did. So right, if we can get past him without crashing, we're going to go all the way back, and we're going to go, this is why it's important to save the course, because we're going to go to new field 41 harvest. I'm going to go open that course, and then we're going to drive to the start of it. There's a couple of things with the Premos. With any harvester or any implement that you're going to use, you need to make sure it's unfolded, otherwise it just won't do anything, it will just drive straight forward. Something I just noticed with the Premos actually is it didn't fire up on its own. So if you go to there and then we go to field work, we're already on field work, I'm going to go start first waypoint, I'm going to click on that. You see there it drops the header, but it doesn't actually do anything, which is frustrating. It might be a little bug because the straw harvest DLC is relatively new. The guys might not have had a chance to actually program in the Premos yet, but not to worry, you can still get it to work if you just fire up the Premos. Don't lower the header, you don't need to do that, you just need to make sure that it is fired up, and then once you click on drive it will actually go ahead and start producing the pellets, and it won't pick up all of the straw on some of the turns, because basically the header is ahead of the combine harvester, and that's where it's producing it, and obviously the swath's coming out the very rear of it, so it might miss some of it. It does when I'm mowing and things like that, collecting the chaff, but for the most part it picks up all the stuff, and it's fully automated, so you don't have to sit there at 6 miles per hour making pellets, which we are doing. We've made 1,000. The yield on this field is a bit poor because I just quickly sowed the wheat and it's got loads of weeds in it, so the yield isn't particularly good, but it's fully automated. I've dropped some wheat there as well on the back. Let's see if we just quickly buy ourselves a tractor. What should I have this time? I'll go with another fast track 8330. Doesn't really matter, we'll have some Michelins on that, that's fine. Got to buy ourselves a trailer, doesn't really matter what but I do like the we'll go with the Bailey in navy. That's fine. No, we don't want an extension. Wheel brand, I'll get a set of Michelins again. Rear hitch we don't need, that's fine. So let's jump into this. I would recommend that you don't have the harvester and the Premos going at the same time, just because when the harvester is turning, when it starts to do the up-down rows, it does have the potential to crash into the Premos, and they will just crash into each other and just basically interfere with each other. They won't stop. That's one of the limitations of Courseplay, is that it doesn't know when to stop when they crash into each other. Sometimes it will, sometimes it'll go stuck in traffic, but more often than not, when it's doing field work, it will just crash into whatever's in its way. So I would harvest the field first, and then I would set the Premos going. Now, if you're using a smaller harvester with a smaller header, oh, this is going to be tight. Has this got rear wheel steering? Has it? No. This is a tough gate to get into, and I'm making a right pigs here, so I'm going to turn around. Yeah, I've got loads of machinery. I'm cheating and just want to get everything ready in order so I can explain this rather than having to wait for anything. So this field is being mowed because I'm going to show you how to do hay shortly. I've got all the equipment lined up there in order to do that. So we want to get into field 41, and I just want to see if we can actually go up alongside this Premos. So what was I saying? If you're using a harvester with a smaller header, you might want to think about using the windrow first. Is that going to open? No. Not to worry. Right, let's see. If we just jump in this, can we open that? No, we can't. Right, stop the driver. Stop what you're doing. So what we'll do is we'll put the pipe out first, and again, I think because of the Premos is relatively new, maybe not all the features work 100%, but make sure before you start going again, fire that Premos up and then just hit go. Oh, no, stop. Pipe out. Next closest waypoint. Fire the Premos up and drive the course. Hopefully he will keep that up, which he has done, and then I'm just going to jump back in this JCB fast track and hopefully run alongside that Premos so we can empty it. So a couple of things you have to do yourself: make sure the pipe is out and make sure you fire it up before you start on the course. Make sure you're in work mode. But yeah, you can run alongside the Premos as it is producing, so that is not a problem. Okie dokie, Big M has finished what he's doing, so we can stop him. We've got loads of machines running. So what I was trying to say, with a smaller harvester, you might want to think about using the rake, which is attached to the little McHale track that I've got somewhere. That's the John Deere. Let's just go in it manually. So what would you do with if you wanted a windrow first? Basically, you would load it up. You would go. What I normally do is go to field work, course generation, and we're going to be doing field 41 because we're using a smaller header. Headland 3. This is a 9.3 to 9.3 meter rake. That's all fine. Needs a bypass island, doesn't it? Simple, generate. And this is what I do when I'm basically silaging or anything. I'll go, so this is a new 41 rake and collect, and then it's 9 meters, isn't it? Basically, instead of using the harvester course for the Premos, I would use that rake and collect course instead. So it's just something to think about if you have to rake instead of just going straight from the harvester. If you've got a nice wide harvester like this, then it isn't a problem. I would just go straight ahead and turn this straw into pellets from the rear of this, because you're talking about 12 meters, which is about as long or about as wide as any of the rakes. Although you might, if you've got the crone rake than, you know, 19 meters, but depends how realistically you want to play. If you want to play semi-realistically, I would probably reckon that a 19 meter wide rake into one swath was probably a little bit too much for the Premos to handle. I would probably reckon that 12 meters is about the max that you want to be going for. But again, if you're just looking to be as quick as possible, then go ahead with the crone rake and just rake all that as quickly as you can, or one of the other rakes which are available. I think the crone rake that we've got is probably the widest available. I'm not too sure, but I think it is. But yeah, you can see there it's all fully automated, and that's happily creating straw pellets which you can use in whichever way you want. I have done a full demonstration of the actual straw pellet harvest. If you want to check that out, there should be a link to a FS19 tutorial playlist in the description below, and there is actually a full demonstration of the actual straw harvest and all the different things you can do. It's not just about creating straw pellets. The next thing we want to do is we're going to create some hay pellets, which you can do pretty much similar to this as well, but obviously we do have to create some hay before we do that. Okie dokie, before we can make any pellets we do actually need to make some hay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this this tedder in action, and basically again I'm just going to go to field work, course generation, current course, what are we, field 39, and I'm going to go headlands. I think I'm going to do 3, and what I'm actually going to do on this instead, I'm going to have do the racetrack. Basically what this means is it doesn't just go up and down on the same row, it actually alternates, because I think the turning circle of this is going to be a bit big. We've got a 13 meter wide rake on the back, tedder rather, and that's created that. We are on the start waypoint. We want to go from the first waypoint, which is this one, and then we're going to start tedding this field in order to make the hay that we need for the pellets, which can go into feed into the mixing wagon to make a total mixed ration for your cows. So it's actually an easier way, actually, if you can afford to hire or buy the Premos. It's quite an easy way of actually getting straw and hay for your feed. Garage will sell that. I'm just being lazy. I'm too lazy to move them. I just buy them and sell them when I need them. But yeah, once we've got that, we've got a different course laid in. Fire that up. Again, I would let him do the tedding before I actually do the raking, but I'm just going to set the course up just in readiness. So we are field work, course generation, field 39, aren't we? 3 headland passes, yeah, that's all fine. Corn headland smooth, skip rows, no. 9.3 meter, generate course, back, save. So this is new, this is field 39. This time I'll shorten. I'm trying to shorten it to 39. Rake and collect, and here's 9. We'll do the full 9.3 meters. Save that, and then next time, once this is tedded, we'll get on and actually rake this up into one nice swath. Okie dokie, so this field 39 is almost ready to be raked now. One thing I've just observed with the Premos on the other field, just as I do some harvesting over there, the turning circle of it is quite wide. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to re-record or reprogram this course. So we're going back to field work, we're going to go course generation. I'm still on field 39, still going to do 3 headland passes, but what we're going to do instead is going to go to field centre, experimental, and we're going to do a racetrack. And what that does, instead of going just up and down, it will alternate. And what this just does, it just lengthens the space in which the Premos has got to turn around, like we did with the course for the tedder. So if we generate the course like so, hopefully you can just about make out what it does. So it goes alternate each of its passes basically, so it's got a wider turning circle in which to turn around, which is better for the Premos. So I think it's safe to get this going, so we'll just get on board this. Still doing the 3 headland passes, which is the easy part. Hopefully they won't crash into each other. Field work is on. Unfold that rather. First waypoint, start that underway. So yeah, I would suggest anything under 12 meters, like the header on that ideal, you will have to do racetrack instead of up down road, because the Premos just won't turn around in the space that it's got. So yeah, just something to be aware of. So that is now raking all that up. That's fine. We're going to jump back into the fence over here, and we're just going to use the course that we're using for the raking. Hopefully it should all work fine. One thing I did observe, I think it might have either I turned it off or it turned itself off, but it might be something just to keep an eye on, just until we get maybe a new update for the Premos in Courseplay. So we're just going to pull up behind this one, and we're going to go back to field work. We're going to load the course, and it is, did we save it? No, I don't think we did we? Right, okay, we've definitely deleted. So jump back in the Little McCormick, and we're going to save this as new 39 rake and collect. 9.3 meters, like so. Jump back in the fence, and then we should be able to get that up. Done 9.9. Not to worry, we're just going to load that up anyway. Are we? Nope, that's the wrong one. So 39 rake and collect. That's the one. And then, like before, we need to fire up the Premos before we start, but hopefully it should lower itself. Next, no, we want to go from the first waypoint. Need to keep the pipe open as well, because that at the minute doesn't open automatically. But it has lowered the header, which is fine, and it's now making hay pellets as well. So it is, again, it's pretty straightforward. You just follow it using the exact same course you would from the rake, and it's going to follow the path down the middle as if it had a 9.3 meter wide implement on it. And I've got this, fire that back up. It will actually, once it's full, it does know to stop, so you need to unload it, but it might not start again. Not, you know, like the harvester, if you had a harvesting course and you drove underneath the pipe and unloaded it, it would start again. I don't think the Premos, by the looks of it, starts automatically. So if for any reason, well, if the Premos gets full and you have to unload it like this while it's stationary, then you will have to start. What you'll have to do is you'll have to jump back in. Let's say, for example, this is now full, it's stopped, it said this needs emptying, and the pipe's going to be down. So what we need to do is, you can empty it while Courseplay is on, but you won't be able to start it again. So you'll have to start the whole process again from scratch. So what you want to do is pipe out, just so you can overload while it's working in the field, and this time you want to go to next closest waypoint, and you want to turn it back on and start it again. So it's not perfect at the minute, this, but it is a way of fully automating the pellet making process, because I don't think it's something everybody wants to do, is go round and round at 6 miles per hour making pellets. So yeah, the fence needs emptying again. But yeah, I would just keep this empty as much as you can, just to stop it from stopping. Yeah, but like that. So it is relatively straightforward. Just remember, you do have to manually basically turn the actual Premos on before you start the course, and it should stay operating then. And if you're working with a working width say with a harvester or a rake, anything below 12 meters, then do racetrack. So I will just do it again, just briefly. So we want to go, we can't do field work. Right, so where are you? Stop driver, cancel. Field work, course generation, so whatever field you're in, field edge path, headland wants to be around, headland passes, and then your field centre, which says experimental, you're going to do a racetrack instead, like so. So I think what I'll leave you with is, usually I'll just kind of finish the episode there, but I will actually show you the Premos in action. I'll do a bit of a time lapse for the end of the video if you want to just double check what I mean by racetrack if you haven't used it before. But I think that field is fully tedded now anyway. But no, actually I'll do it with the rake, because the rake is a bit quicker. I'll just show you what I mean by racetrack with a little bit of a time lapse of the rake basically going up and down in this field. So I'm going to leave it there for today, leave you with the time lapse, and say until next time, bye bye.